Why is there so much corruption in South Sudan but barely any in Denmark? How does this demonstrate unequal human development, and what are the possible solutions to solve this? Corruption is important. Political leaders are meant to have the well-being of the nation at heart. Corruption can cause serious damage to a country, leading to unequal development. South Sudan and Denmark are at opposite ends of the Corruption's Perceptions Index. South Sudan is ranked 175 out of 176, while Denmark is ranked first. It is important to understand why this is so and how a country can fix itself. First, what is corruption? According to Corruption Watch, corruption is the abuse of public resources or public power for personal gain. The most widely known and used corruption measure is the Corruption Perception Index, or CPI, a report created by Transparency International. It scores countries on a scale of 0, very corrupt, to 100, clean. The data comes from assessments and surveys conducted by analysts. What makes South Sudan such a corrupt country? There's no clear political ideology. Salva Kiir was elected as president when South Sudan became an official nation. His vice president was Riek Machar. Salva Kiir accused Machar of organizing a coup against him and was sacked. There is fear that the country is being led by a dictator. The Constitution of South Sudan even states that the president can sack governors, call for elections, which hasn't been done yet, and can't be impeached by the government. Another reason is the judicial system. 2/3 of the citizens find that the courts are corrupt. The judiciary is independent from the government, but is still influenced by the executive power. In addition, 50% of citizens find that the police are corrupt. There have been many cases where police have demanded bribes and are ineffective in their work. Public services is also a big issue. More than 1/3 of companies have to bribe government officials with gifts and irregular payment to obtain an operating license. According to The Guardian, the government prioritizes war spending than spending on basic medical supplies. South Sudan's public clinics ran out of drug supplies last year, but the government did not budge for those supplies. The education sector is also suffering. The only sector that the government seems to be paying any attention to is the military. Why is Denmark the least corrupt country? According to Tom Noring, there are 5 main reasons. There are fair working conditions, social security, health arrangements, and more. How is this done? Well, there are high taxes, but the citizens happily pay these because of social trust. The trust that citizens are investing in society rather than just paying taxes. Private and public institutions are transparent. This makes it easier to, for example, hold specific politicians accountable for any irregularities. CSR is basically a code of conduct that institutes and companies have to create and adhere to. This code consists of guidelines about how the company will function. This has led to less corruption because there is more transparency. In Denmark, the media is considered to be the 4th estate and is responsible for making sure that the other 3 estates are in order. There is a legal framework which criminalizes a wide range of corruption and an independent and efficient judiciary. How does corruption lead to unequal development? 1. Poor resource management. If there's corruption in the government of a nation, that means that there's a leak in the government. In most African countries, the government doesn't use money to invest in soft public investments, such as in health and school services. Instead, they prefer investing in hard investments, such as infrastructure and construction. This is because they get immediate monetary returns on hard investments, and these investments can be easily corrupted. 2. Economic inequality. According to a study by Glacier, corruption benefits the people at the top of the hierarchy. Thus, the rich are motivated to engage in corruption, and the poor are more likely to be extorted, and so the wealth gap increases. How can corruption be solved? Studies have shown that corruption levels have decreased with democratic rule. Of course, simply having elections for a leader is not enough. Democratization has to be supported by strengthening independent institutions which can survey, report, judge, and enforce the ideals of democracy. The more open and transparent the process of the management of public resources, the less opportunity there is for abuse and corruption. It is vital that there is effective law enforcement to make sure that the corrupt are punished. In order for this to happen, there must be a strong legal framework. By signing conventions and becoming members, a country promises to adhere to the rules outlined in the convention. If the country fails to follow those rules, then its reputation is at stake, it won't receive international aid, and sanctions can be placed on that country, preventing it from trade and other benefits.